Hello and welcome. You're tuned to The Leg Up, your weekly Thoroughbury preview podcast. Thanks for joining us. It's been a big week and we're heading into a bumper weekend of racing. Obviously, Auckland Cup Day coming to us on Sunday. Joined by Stephen Hunt as always. Good morning, Stephen. Busy week on the breeding side of things though, hasn't it been?
Yeah, as we call it, the New Zealand bloodstock sales throughout the week. At the moment, book 2 running through, Thursday through to Saturday, but Monday through to Wednesday was book 1, and just got some figures. I think turnover was up 24%. I think there was 5 lots sitting of 800k and above that were sold through the ring, compared to last year only one lot exceeded 800k. The top lot was a full Broda Moana.
Yes, Savabeel. Yeah, that's right.
Coming out of the Waikato stud draft, which was always popular. I think they touted that horse to be the top lot heading into the sales, and it delivered there. Look, probably one downside or a slight negative was the bottom ender took a slight hit. That range between 50 to 150k, a lot of Parsons. Hopefully a few of those will be sold outside, within the sale, but obviously outside the ring to get that clearance rate up. But I think overall has to be a success. New Zealand bloodstock will be wrapped with the overall numbers and all the stats that came through the sales during the week, just because of the ongoing challenges we've had through COVID in the last 12 or so months. So look, overall very successful. The numbers weren't there on deck, obviously with the Australian buyers, etc., but with the online Gabble House, etc., the online business,
they made it work.
They made it work, yeah.
Yeah, okay, very good. We'll keep an eye on book 2 as it goes through in the next couple of days or so. We're going to go to Paul Morata. This is a promotion up the order here, Paul. I want to come to you second here today, but you deserve it. On the back of your success with Johnny, who romped in there at Ellerslie last Saturday. Good morning.
Yeah, it was a wonderful training feat, and coming around the turn, although Johnny did start to veer out slightly, had the race under control, and I think closed at around 650. So a nice little collect, nice way to sort of build up the bank account and give it all back on the Super Rugby.
Steve's in a bit of shock here, don't you, Steve? Around Paul. He's been flying lately.
I don't know how he's doing it. He's obviously got a spy selecting for him.
Not even going to give him the credit. Paul, that's a bit rough, isn't it?
Oh, well, it's a tall poppy syndrome we live in, isn't it?
Yeah.
ROI, BP and I, we're embarrassed to show ours.
We'll be looking forward to what Paul can muster up from wherever. We'll take him any way we can get him. A nice $7 winner with Johnny last week. I'm not calling it demotion. We've got our man in Hamilton, Brendan Popperwell. Good morning to you, BP. Big derby day. Very, very good day and successful day.
It was, yeah, massive. It was great to be sitting back and watching the coverage and taking it all in, really. And it was good viewing in terms of what we saw on the race day. Derby day, it produced everything you wanted, really. And of course, with Asterix taking the race out and going back to back, Andrew Scott and Lance O'Sullivan. Of course, that is now 4 Derby wins now for Andrew Scott, and the second time that he's gone back-to-back, of course. He did it when going cut the cake into excellent, of course, and now Rocket Spade into Asterix. Asterix went around at a really big price, but it was a race where there was the speed was on. There was other horses that were keen to go forward and help horses from back in the field, and with Asterix, who drew wide, the plan was always to sort of let the horse, let him get into the race and then see what he's got to offer, roll into it. I gave Andrew a phone call on the Saturday morning to see what they were expecting, and look, he said he was of the belief that he is a good stayer and he will run well in the race, but certainly wasn't touting him as the winner. And I think you could see that shock from Lance and Andrew Scott after the race. That's why I think it meant so much to them, because this was an effort where this horse was only having his 4th start. He'd come into this race with a maiden win out of Tauranga. That broke all the trends, didn't it, of what we see leading into the New Zealand Derby, with using that Avondale Guineas as your opportunity to springboard yourself into the Vodafone New Zealand Derby. So just an amazing effort, and also by even Soldier Boy to finish into 4th position, the complete rank outsider finishing into 4th position. Of course, La Creek, who was the runner that was unlucky and caught in an awkward position. And look, overall, dictated to by barrier number 1. I think if she'd drawn anywhere else, I mean, she would have been able to just find her spot midfield and make her move like some of these horses did. But when dictated to by barrier number one and not leading, it meant that they just had to find that piece of luck at the right time. And we suggested on the show that that could be an issue if she has horses in front of her that she needs to try and clear traffic on. Look, overall, her run has been outstanding. She has run the second fastest first 400 and come home the fastest last 200. She's a horse on the rise, and we can't wait to see her, turn into a very good 4-year-old mare next season. But yeah, Asterix taking the race out, and yeah, as always, Derby Day, as I said, was a great viewing day and a great punting day, I'm sure, for those that were able to get involved.
Yeah, for sure. Steve, just on Asterix, I mean, it wasn't completely a surprise to some of our customers. I mean, he was quite well backed. It was probably that fact that perhaps he did have that unknown. He was the unknown in the race coming through that maiden win.
Yeah, 100%. Most inexperienced galloper in the field, I believe, only having his 3 starts, leading into his 4th start there. And it was just a hard horse to assess purely because we just didn't have the data around him. He came from a different angle, obviously not coming through the two obvious guineas, the Waikato guineas and the Avondale guineas. When we assessed this market, we did a track 1 star for low confidence around Asterix. Just not sure where his marketplace would finish. He opened 41s, got out to 51s, and then brought back into 31s on the day. So he was well played in that middle to end market, Asterix. He definitely wasn't friendless. So a few nice tickets around him.
Yeah, a few nice tickets, BP, around Asterix. You didn't have any floating about, did you?
Look, I didn't back him personally, no, but there is a little side story to this while you're coming at me at this angle, Thad. Look, we're about to show you a ticket here. Now, my son, he's an avid racing follower. He came to the races with me in the middle of December, and we got talking to Andrew Scott, and Andrew said, and my little boy with his eyes and ears open, heard Andrew Scott, if there's one horse that you'd like to follow, Asterix might be that horse to look out for when there are Derby markets out and available. Well, there was a Derby market open in the middle of December, and there was an unraced 3-year-old at $61 that my boy would like to put $1 on out of his pocket money. So I certainly went down that line for him, and there was a lot of cheering when up the home straight. Look, the amount of times that he was checking where he was, is he going to get into the race, what other horses aren't going towards the race. There was a lot surrounding this $61 potential return, and then to be able to get it at the end, it was pretty cool. So it's all going towards a new bike.
Very good. He'll never forget that though, BP, will he? I mean, you'll have those same memories when you were a young man, as I have, and mine will be older than most of yours. Mine will be going back to Kiwi and the like, and Empire Rose, but there'll be that moment he won't forget.
Yeah. I mean, look, horses like Castletown live with me forever. For those reasons. Rastus. I remember tipping out Rastus because it was at the bottom of the race book to win the Wellington Cup for Lofty Taylor. All those sorts of memories. They retain with you, and that's why as we are now in the game that we love, and that's where you keep those memories, and I'm sure he will forever around the day that Asterix won the New Zealand Derby. Yeah,
and he'll embellish the story as well, as a good man does around racing, no doubt. We'll stick with you, Pops, because we want to come to your Maiden of the Week. I mean, these Maidens of the Week, we're having a little chat off here prior to the show. Bellatrix Black was another one. We saw her salute. We need another one, please, to follow.
Yeah, well, interesting around that Bellatrix Black. Of course, that was on the 16th of February out of Tauranga, and she won the Sunline Vase. And on that same day, Asterix, of course, was winning his maiden race at that meeting. So a midweek meeting on a slow surface has ended up producing 2 stakes winners on Derby Day, and one of them, of course, the Derby winner, and now another horse on a path towards the New Zealand Oaks. Let's have a look at a race meeting that was held during the week out of Otaki, and look, very nicely bred horse here by Savabeel out of a Group 1 winner, and I Do. A horse who was superb, I thought, first up of asking when finishing into the money, Ideal, and then came out and got the job done. Has the breeding and with the right trainer to say that this horse can continue on the upward plane. So I thought she was a nice horse to mark down as our Maiden of the Week out of Otaki.
Ideal, Steve? Impressive on the eye?
Oh, look, well bred.
Yeah.
Look, she's obviously taken a little bit of time being a 4-year-old mare. It all just set up. She had the right profile leading into the race. I thought she had a clear class advantage over the rest of her rivals, running second on debut to Lee Villy, who has been a subsequent winner and was almost the run of the race in the Sunline Vase on the weekend when the race shape was totally against Levilly. Just on Levilly, has been officially late nommed for the New Zealand Oaks in a couple of weeks' time. She sits at a $10 price at Levilly. I think there's a sale pending, possibly, for the daughter of Pacini, possibly heading to Australia. Whether that still holds a chance of running in New Zealand Oaks remains to be seen. But, just the overall form heading into the race around Ideal was suitable.
How old is she, Ideal? She 3 or 4?
Four, I think.
Okay, so
Yeah,
not-
4.
Okay, so we'll just see her follow her through the grades beautifully. Okay, team, we want to get to the race preview. We're going to look at Ellerslie Auckland Cup Day, and obviously Bone Crusher as well included. We're going to start race number 5, Steve, and I'm going to get the name right here. Royal Descent Stakes for the fillies and mares over the mile.
Just want to do a little bit of homework before we quickly touch on this market, Thaddeus. Look, the rail's out 3.5 metres from last Saturday, Derby Day. From a jockey's perspective, we saw on Derby Day the rail was a touch off because a lot of the horses or a lot of the jockeys were making their move come the middle part of the straight on the home turn. So, look, 360 opposed that in the last race coming up against the rail. Well, it was around about 1 metre off the rail when winning, but I see they have moved the rail out 3.5 metres. So, weather forecast heading towards Sunday is very good. So, hopefully a dead 4 come race 1.
Okay, run us through this market, Steve. It was Show of Roses our favourite and looks a pretty suitable race for her.
Yeah, well played, Show of Roses. 250 on opening, now trading 230. Best lead I can give early doors. In front of Dragon Queen, 480 second elect. Waimuku Falls, $6. Slave to Love, 7. St. Alice, look, possible scratching. Going to run in the previous race, St. Alice. No jock currently, $7.50. Akoya, $12. 360. 16 to 14, well played on the quick back up. And Colprinia at 26, now 31. So overall summary, Show of Roses well played, 250 into 230.
Yeah, okay, BP, set weights and penalties here for Show of Roses. Sort of sets up for a mare like this, and you certainly wouldn't begrudge her another win, would you?
No, I mean, look, she's a 101 rater in the race. She's a horse that, whose 1600 metre form is right up there because of what she did in a previous season. Of course, she won a Rich Hill and a Kalai Zuzu Stakes. She's come out and she's been terrific throughout this preparation. Of course, she was beaten last time out, and I think you just want to forget about it, what happened last time to the races, because it was on an off track, of course, in the BCD Group Sprint, where she's finished into 6th position over 1400 metres in behind Levante. She really needs the good footing, so happy to just bypass that and forget that she's gone around in that race. Got a lot in her favour here. She's drawn well, Opie aboard. She can really potentially dominate this race, you would think, and hence why there's been that good market support for her already at $2.50 into $2.30. Thought a couple of her dangers could come from horses like Dragon Queen, of course, who won the Westbury Classic 2 starts ago and then backed it up by being placed in behind Imperatriz. Beaten, yes, by a good margin by that horse, but that horse was ultra impressive with how she dealt to her rivals. And Slave to Love, the other horse with black type form coming into this race with a good draw. A horse who's been placed in the Kaimai Stakes comes back from that race to 1600 metres, but even through her performances in races like the Kalai Zuzu Stakes this season, when running 3rd, because Show of Roses ran 2nd in that particular race where they were in behind Concert Hall. So I sort of see them as the clear logical dangers in this race with what they bring, both Dragon Queen and Slave to Love, and then you have to try and work out with Waimuku Falls, who's coming back from the 2000 metres where she looked set and ready to go for that race, and coming back now to the 1600 metres. But look, boiling it all down, lads, Show of Roses just might be a nice bet coming up on Sunday.
Yeah, what are you thinking here, Paul? You're the hot hand. Show of Roses, or are we looking elsewhere here?
I do like the look of Show of Roses here. I agree with BP. I put a line through her last start. I think she'll get the conditions to suit here. Opie Boston on board, a nice draw. It's all set up for her, I think. I just look back to the results of last Saturday at Ellerslie. Only 2 favourites saluted the judge out of that 10 race card. So I think we're going to see a wee bit of a sort of the universe correcting things, and I think we'll see a number of favourites line up this Sunday. Funnily enough, it's Sunday the 13th, and I think it's going to be a black Sunday for Steve and the bookies. I think there'll be a number of multis lining up and collecting this Sunday. So, and I think Show of Roses will be one of those who will be in the mix. So, yeah, I can't really see anyone else troubling a Show of Roses. I did look a wee bit further down the page and I thought 360, I know it's a big step up in class for her, but I did like that maiden victory, and I'll throw her in for a top 3 or a top 4 here, but outside of that, I just can't see Show of Roses getting beat.
Yeah, okay. Well, you're starting to play the law of averages as well with the favourites. You're very dangerous, aren't you?
I'm dangerous at the best of times.
You got all the tricks. You got all the tricks. Yeah, okay, Steve. Looking at this race, Show of Roses does look well placed. I want you to talk about Waimoku Falls, though. I mean, I think she was your bet of the day when she stepped up to 2,000. Not to bring this up, she finished third, but right. She's back to a mile again, and we were perhaps expecting her to be going over ground. What do you think?
She had like 3 or 4 runs at the mile heading into Mudda over a staying trip. She ran well below betting expectations. She was very firm on the day, closing around about $2.50 from memory, Thad. And look, obviously disappointing. Waimoku Falls on face value. They've dropped it back to 1,600. Maps to be in the back half of the field. There's money for that individual, as there always tends to be, with a decent syndicate of Go Racing surrounding Waimoku Falls at that $6 third line fave. This could be quite tactical just looking at the map. Show of Roses and Colprinia look to be 1-2 of the map. Colprinia, who took a sit last start, midfield to cover extra ground. I think they'll go to plan A again, which we've seen for the majority of its campaign to jump, run and lead. So I think Colprinia can get into that leading position on the rail from a sticky gate, and that will allow OP just to sit outside Colprinia and control the tempo. But between those two, there doesn't look to be that much speed. A lot of these horses will default to that middle to back end of the map. Dragon Queen should get an economical run, just sitting behind Show of Roses and Colprinia. The thing about Dragon Queen, I do feel her sweet spot's 1,400. Now, she goes to 1,600 here. We know her win this time in at Group 2 level was over 1,400, the Westbury Classic, but she does step up to 1,600 here. It's not a total knock, because you look back as a 3-year-old, she placed in a Sunline Vase over 2,100 metres, and she also finished third in a very strong run, Rich Hill, earlier this preparation as well, over 1,600. So no total knock, but I just feel her ideal spot is 1,400. But as I mentioned, she does get a nice little spot in the map in behind Show of Roses and Colprinia.
Okay. BP, can we give Aidan Rodley any encouragement here around Akoya, or what we're putting a line through it?
Oh, look, she's a nice mare. She really is. I just feel as though, like Stephen said, she might be one of those, a couple of other horses that are just going to be very neutral out of the barriers, and in a race where, some of the key rivals are going to find their positions, aren't they? Like Show of Roses and Dragon Queen, with where they are likely to position up and give themselves every possible of being very dangerous in the race. And that just makes it awkward for a horse like her. But hey, look, the way that she's won her 2 races, she looks to be a nice mare on the rise. I'm happy to play around Show of Roses. I think she looks to be a good win bet, and then you start looking to try and maybe leverage on Quinellas and exactas with horses like Dragon Queen and sort of Slave to Love, maybe with that economical run for a horse like her who could be doing no work, 3 back the fence maybe.
Yeah, okay. How are you going to play it here, Paul, in the Royal Descent? You sounded pretty keen on the favourite.
Yeah, I'm happy to take Show of Roses. She's currently 230. I'll take her for a win, and I'll slot 360 in there for a top 3 finish. Currently 320 for a top 3 finish.
Okay, very nice, very nice.
Nice race for Akoya. Maybe I don't know what they're working back from, but maybe a Travis at Te Rapa. Wait for age for fillies and mares, 2,000 metres. Seems to be a horse that likes a mile and a quarter. She may be competitive over 1,600 if the tempos run to suit, but maybe a Travis in a few weeks' time.
Okay, interesting. Boys pretty keen on the favourite there, Show of Roses. Mix it up with Dragon Queen, Waimoku Falls, and Paul didn't mind 360 as a bit of an include at the price around 360 a place, or fixed odds top 3 currently. Guys, we're going to go to the Group 1, or the first Group 1, and that's race number 6, Steve. This is the Steamer Stakes, and boy oh boy, got a mouth-watering clash here.
Yeah, 2 stable mates, Boy v Gill, Dynastic v Maven Bell. Look, Dynastic opened even money, Thad. It's been well played at that $2 quote. Won't be drifting anytime soon, according to traders downstairs. But Dynastic, well played at $2 in front of Maven Bell at $2.30. I choose you, the third stringer in the marketplace at $10, third fave. Alabama Gold, $13. Lickety Split, well played in the middle market, 16 into 14. Sacred Satono and also Desert Lightning, 51 each of 2. So outside Lickety Split, who's been well found, nice 1x3 play. Dynastic, clearly the best lead at even money.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting, BP. We've got the Karaka Million winner, Dynastic, obviously. Opie sticks, no surprise there. Up against Maven Bell, who people have probably underestimated last start there at Mutter in the Breeders, and she came out and did it again. She's unbeaten, so this is one heck of a clash.
Isn't it? It's what you like when you get horses like Maven Bell unbeaten, coming through, 2 stakes victories at her last 2 starts and a dominant win on her home track in the Mutter Breeders. And it really does set it up for her to be a strong contender in the race and a very well-deserved clear-cut second favourite and behind the Karaka Million winner, of course, in Dynastic. And Dynastic, who's drawn in barrier number 1, look, there's good options there for Opie with how the race can pan out. You've got a runner like Alabama Gold. I'm sure they'll be keen to push forward in the race. Comes out of the race winning the Mutter Slipper. Look, Alabama Gold does have a little bit of form around here at Ellerslie. He's a horse that didn't go his way in the Karaka Million, and then he was beaten in behind Fellini, of course, at this venue, who then Fellini was able to go on and be placed in the Karaka Million. I can understand why there is that money for Lickety Split. One of those horses, you could be happy to sort of try and have a little place bet on or lob it high in the tries and first fours. The horse is trialled here at this venue when winning and beating home Rudyard. Now, of course, we saw Rudyard winning that race out of Rotorua when coming from back in the field and getting the job done. And, already we've heard that Rudyard is a horse that might be looking to head across the Tasman and maybe through the Queensland winter. And then came out and won first time of asking. Now, it's always that step up again, isn't it, up against some of these horses that have been in stakes company or horses that have been in the Karaka Million. So it's another go for her again, stepping up from what she's done last time out on the 19th of February on Avondale Guineas Day. But she's got a good draw. She's out of the right stable. We're seeing a lot of stock of Turmilus impressing. I just thought that she might be the one that you can, as Stephen said, that 1-by-3 play that punters are gravitating towards in this race. Stephen, your thoughts around how this race could pan out, and Dynastic is currently at that $2 mark.
Yeah, I just want to break down the Matter Slipper v Matter Breeders because it's 2 important races leading into the Group 1. You look at the Matter Slipper, the first 600 they ran 34.56 against the Matter Breeders 34.95. So Alabama Gold has gone out 3.7 lengths quicker than the Breeders, but the Breeders have come home 6 lengths faster with an overall time of 35.02 for the last 600. So the overall race quality, the Mutter Breeders rated 4.6 lengths superior versus Mutter Slipper. So on that score alone, I'm happy to take a set against Alabama Gold. And the market is reflecting that. You're seeing Alabama Gold hanging out at around about $13 v Maven Bell at $2.40. But look, overall, Maven Bell does hold the best figure out of any horse in this race, and that's including Dynastic, what it produced in the Karaka Million. 1.4 lengths in front of Dynastic in terms of overall figures, and that's weight adjustment as well. So it's again, look, Dynastic hasn't had the runs on the board. He's only had the 2 starts to date where Maven Bell's had 3. So no real knock on why Dynastic's favourite, obviously with the Opie Bosson factor, etc. as well. So, but just breaking down 2 key lead-up races, the Slipper versus the Breeders. But Paul, what are we shaping up in terms of your selections when it comes to the Group 1 feature for the juveniles?
Well, I think we look back to last Saturday where we had a number of runners out at the Arkell, and we had no Opie to sort of point us in the right direction as to what was probably the most favoured runner out of that stable. Having said that, I do like the look of Maven Bell. I really like the way she's run lately, and the fact that you've just said that she rates slightly higher with your ratings really does make me even more confident in her chances. So I've got Maven Bell on top of Dynastic, and I see we've taken a wee bit of money early on as well. So I think Maven Bell for mine, just on top of Dynastic, and I may take a little fixed Quinella as well. I couldn't find the odds for that. I don't think they're up at the moment, but Maven Bell at 230, I do like the look of.
We might get a little bit more, Paul, as well, with the way the Opie factor, the Dynastic factor, and she was underestimated last time at Mutter, as I said. Do we wait? We might be able to wait and get 250, 260.
Oh, it's possible, especially if we if there's a bit of money comes for Lickety Split as well. I have no doubt that we'll take money on Dynastic with Opie back on board. So yeah, we could get 250.
What about I Choose You? Did you mention I Choose You, Steve? Just because, like, he was well supported last start, and he's just probably got one blot on his copybook, and immediately he's $10. It looks a big price.
Yeah, she was well played early doors, just a little bit soft leading into the race a few weeks back against the fillies. She went into that race with a 56-day spell, so naturally you'd say there's improvement around I Choose You. She covered extra ground when fresh. Sidewinkers go on. That's a little bit of a crucial gear change around the filly. She did work right-handed during the week with the stablemate Maven Bell, just to get itself sorted going right-handed / Ellerslie. As we know, it has run at Ellerslie previously, I Choose You. But again, that's one key element around Dynastic. He's got that Ellerslie tick, where Maven Bell, we know it's made its debut right-handed Te Araha, but it's a different ball game when you head up to Ellerslie for 2-year-olds on debut. So, so they both work right-handed during the week. I don't want to rule out I Choose You. I kind of feel at a $10 price, just working on SP's last start, that I'm not surprised it's come in 1.11 to 10, and it may hover around that $8-10 mark on race day. The potential of Maven Bell possibly easing with the firm around Dynastic. Yeah, I can see that happening as well. And just on Lickety Split, because that's the unknown. It's had one start for one win at Ellerslie, which is important, 16-14. Look, it didn't run an overall bad time for a debutant 2-year-old, just comparing to 2-year-olds this season, but gee, it has to still find 5 or 6 lengths on the likes of Dynastic and Maven Bell, what they've produced in the Karaka Million and also at group level Maven Bell last start. So it needs to improve, but it's a horse that will be able to use tactical speed, put itself in the first 2 or 3, and has Ellerslie form. But just on raw figures, needs to improve a few lengths.
Yeah, there's no doubt they can improve quickly, BP, as 2-year-olds, so we wouldn't be surprised to see Lickety Split play a part. But where did you settle on in the Sistema finally?
Look, I just think it's maybe the safe play is to play the 2 horses that are at the top of the market through Quinellas with Dynastic and also in Maven Bell. Like I'm only just slightly with Dynastic, hovering around that $2 mark, and maybe by the time we get to this point of the day, if a few other favourites roll in on Black Sunday, then maybe we'll see this horse finishing around that $1.90 quote maybe when we get to closing, and that will attract Maven Bell punters, won't it, if that is the case? So, yeah, there's not a lot between them. And then Alabama Gold and Lickety Split. If they can improve off their most recent efforts by winning, and then if they've got the speed to be able to put themselves in the race, they have a barrier draw. It means they're contenders, aren't they, for playing in that top 3 or top 4 line for both of those horses. So, yeah, we'll go Dynastic as the top selection, just in front of Maven Bell.
Okay, and so when BP swoops into the dollar, it's $90.80, Paul, you'll be sitting there waiting for your 260, 270 around Maven Bell by the sound of it.
Yeah, it's betting against Opie Bosson when he's on a Te Akau runner is fraught with danger, but I'm going to anyway. I've got Maven Bell on top, and if she does drift, I think 250 would be a lovely, lovely price. So Maven Bell for me for the win, and I'll have Maven Bell and Dynastic and a fixed Quinella.
Yeah, okay.
Could really determine 2-year-old of the year. I know we've got the size in a few weeks' time, but probably level pegging at the moment. Maven Bell, what she's done, a couple of group wins next to her name. The Karaka Million, probably in terms of the overall race, holds the top of the pedestal at the moment. Still not a Group 1 though, the Karaka Million eligible to certain runners. So possibly just level pegging at the moment heading into Sunday. So whoever took out this race, a Group 1 next to their status, could be a decent way going forward to taking out that title.
Okay, we're going to be watching that with interest then. Another little piece to the puzzle there in this year's Sistema, dominated by Dynastic and Maven Bell. Gentlemen, race number 8 on the card, Bone Crusher New Zealand Stakes Group 1. And no surprise, this brings about a very, very tidy field, Steve.
Yeah, they're very keen on the pointy end of the market here, Thaddeus, with the top 3 in the market, well played at different stages between now and we opened on Wednesday. Coventina Bay, well tried yesterday afternoon, a little bit soft on Wednesday afternoon, but Coventina Bay well played in the last 24 hours, $2.80 now to $2.50. The Chosen One, rock solid, $3.20 into $3 in that second elect. Madalena also well played, got as short as $4.80, just back out to the original price of $5. Tiptronic, double figures, 10. Field of Gold, the 3-year-old. Opened at 11, got as high as 13, back into 11. Vernon Me, ace draw barrier, $12 quote. And then you've just got a stretch to the rats and mice, should we say. Gino Severini, $51. The Mitigator, $51. And Pep Talk at 61 the ranking. So as I mentioned, they're very keen at the point end of the market. The 7, the 1, the 8, all well played at different stages in the first 48 hours.
Yeah, okay, the way she put them away, BP Coventina Bay, she deserves favouritism. I said strong, but we've certainly got a strong top 3 here in this market, and the 3-year-old adds a bit of spice. Field of Gold.
Absolutely. Look, I think first of all, one of those roughies is going to play a key part in what happens in this race, though, because we've got 4 horses here that love to put themselves in on their speed. You've got Tiptronic, as we know, was able to lead throughout and win the Zabeel Classic. The horse who ran second in that race was Vernon Me, who then led them up in the Herbie Dyke, as well, and is drawn in barrier number 1. You've got the Mitigator at the big price, and then you've got Field of Gold, who is with 54.5 kilograms, who led all the way in the Waikato Guinea. So what happens going up the hill the first time as they leave the straight? And the Mitigator drawn out, his best go in life is to be up and running, isn't it? He really likes to get going and try and open them up. So that means some of these horses like maybe Tiptronic is going to have to try and follow him over and get that spot where does Field of Gold, and then Vernon Me sort of lobs him behind. So this should be a good strong tempo race, which is going to be good. It's good for a weight for age staying race. That's what we want to see is good tempo. So that you can almost hopefully put that to one side and know that this race is going to be genuine and give every horse their opportunity. And that means it does play into the hands of Coventina Bay and also the Chosen One, who are the Chosen One, good strong stayer as we know. He didn't get all the favours he was looking for in the Herbie Dyke. He was caught 3 wide throughout in a track condition that wasn't quite his go, and second up is not his go in life either. So it was a run that held so much merit, finishing 3rd behind a horse, Coventina Bay, who got the right run. Craig Grills gave it a 10 out of 10 ride, cutting corners, got out at the right time, a little forgiveness in the ground, and she was able to finish strongly over the top. Then you bring in horses like Madalena, who now gets to 2,000 metres, big tick for her. Off the back of her Group 1 placing in the El Cheapo Weight for Age Classic down at Otaki. I think it's everything you want in the race with those horses in the top 5 or 6, because Vernon Me, as I said, he's run second at his last 2 Group 1 Weight for Age starts in the Zabeel Classic and the Herbie Dyke. So there's enough going on here, and hopefully there's that right tempo to set up for the right horses to be getting their opportunity. Yeah,
just talk about Amaralina, Pops, just briefly. Or not briefly, if you like. Go on, for all I care. But Amaralina, what do we make? The run was good down at Waikato in the Weight for Age, wasn't it? Are we ready to declare her back? Or has she ever been away, I suppose, is the other question.
Yeah, look, I don't think she's been away. I think with her is it was an Australian campaign that just didn't go from ball one, did it? It was unlucky. It was one of those preparations that they just couldn't quite get off the ground. They gave her that opportunity by getting to Sydney, and then of course they went to Melbourne at the end of her spring preparation. So look, it was a best forget prep in Australia, and then she's come back and she's had that good first up run over a distance short of her best. Even though they were touting that she wouldn't run well in that race on Karaka Million Night, where she's finished into 4th position. I think with how she's run on into 2nd position, beaten them behind. A horse who's been up and ready and running all season in Mascarpone. I mean, he's run through our top sprint races, and he has been ultra consistent, hasn't he, all through the start of the spring, right to that point, thereby winning that Otaki Weight for Age. So you'd have to say that she's not too far off the mark now and gives her a strong chance to win the race.
Yeah, okay. Paul, what are your initial thoughts here? I mean, BP talks about the speed in the race, which is interesting, and perhaps does set it up for the top two in the market here.
Yeah, perfect for Coventina Bay. As he said, there's quite a bit of early speed in this race, so we should get a truly run bone crusher. She'll enjoy that. She'll get back from that inside draw, but it's not an overly large field, so she won't need too much luck to sort of come round and really let down in that straight. So I do like the look of Coventina Bay. I had her marked down at 280. I see she's down into 250, so obviously quite a bit of confidence out there on the chances of Coventina Bay. And the other one is the Chosen One, who this will set up nicely for as well. So I'm not looking any further than the top 2 favourites. I really do think it's going to be an absolute bloodbath on Sunday.
You're really spruiking this Black Sunday. We should have spoke about this before the show. You're coming on with that sort of rhetoric. Unacceptable behaviour. No, well, who knows? Does look a favourites race potentially, Steve. Coventina Bay ticked that 2,000 metre box for me. Just had to do it. I know she always runs on strongly. Looks like she's going to love it, but she came out in the Herbie Dyke and ticked that box. So a deserved favourite now.
Is she close fave from memory in the Herbie Dyke? Well played throughout the day when we had the odd shower leading into that meeting. I think it hit around that slow 7 mark. So that favoured her, Coventina Bay. She's no dud on a decent track, but she doesn't mind a little bit of fire out of the track. V, the chosen one, who just found that slow 7 against him. Plus he had to pass a vet clearance on race day at Te Rapa, and he was on that second up syndrome, which a lot of people found a negative as well. So you take all those variables against the chosen one. It was a very good run. Look, he'll go back to that default neutral position, maybe in that back third on that sticky gate. BP mentioned there's 3 or 4 here that will look to push forward. Hopefully we get even tempo. You look at the Zabeel, the first 1,400 over that 2,000 metre weight for age over Christmas, New Year was rated 6.8 lengths below par for the first 7 furlongs. Then the Herbie Dyke, similar, first 1,400, 3.3 lengths below par. So again, 2 weight for age, 2,000 metre races, run well below par for the first 1,400, a sprint home in the last 600. So hopefully even tempo, those back markers will get a fair crack. Just on a Madalini, I think there is a bit of sense of timing around her. I feel like she's been 1 run short this whole preparation. I think her sweet spot this time in is 2,000 metres, V14.16, where her first 2 runs this prep have been. So 2,000 metres, she's got a great record at Ellerslie. Her PB happens to be the Fillies Classic Te Rapa as a 3-year-old last year over 2,000 metres. So she hits that nice little sweet spot. And she had a big 3-year-old campaign. A big 3-year-old campaign. It just didn't quite come up in the spring. So I'm allowing to stick with her over the 2,000 metres. I had her a little bit shorter in the market than the $5 price. I wouldn't be surprised if she started closer to 4 than 5. And now the 3-year-old, who adds a different element to the race. So, look, on his Auckland Guineas, in particular his Waikato Guineas victory, and allowing for the weight adjustment here, he needs to find 4 lengths on my ratings. So I have him down as a 4% chance only against the older horses here. And also, with that pace, you got Tiptronic, also the mitigator.
Who leads?
Well, I don't know. Field of God would like to have that leading position and make the rest carry their weight, 59, 57 kegs, where he has that weight relief being a 3-year-old. But I just don't know if he gets that lead. BP, where do you sit with the 3-year-old and again on the map around him?
I find him a hard horse to assess, to be completely honest with you, Stephen. Because in that Waikato Guineas race, I mean, he was just the default leader, wasn't he? He was the logical horse to be in front and then controlling the race with how horses were going up in distance for the very first time. He just landed there and then just controlled the race. And the same with the Auckland Guineas, with the one horse that got him was the trailer, and that, of course, been Dark Destroyer. So both those occasions where he's run those 2 super races, he just landed there and he was just able to just get into his own work and control it. Where this is different, isn't it? It's very hard to see that he's going to have that opportunity to do that because you've got the mitigator. Look, the mitigator, I know he was slow away in that race at Matamata, but every other time, he's a horse that gets on with it, doesn't he? From a wide draw of barrier number 8, you'd imagine that's his best go if he's going to have any sort of chance in this race is to be put forward up there and running. So it's going to be then down to what they do with Field of Gold and how they try and take a spot with him. He's drawn in barrier number 3. He's got Vernon Mee, who's down in barrier number 1, who's been able to set terms in 2 races or be in or near lead. I'm pretty sure that they'll be happy to take a spot in behind that good bit of pressure. But I just sort of don't see him leading, though. That's the only thing, and that could be the biggest downfall for him, even though he's got that weight advantage on his key rivals. I guess the other side of that coin is if the mitigator misses the start like he did at Matamata, well, then it gives those horses like Field of Gold and maybe Tiptronic a chance to get into their favoured spot. I actually think Tiptronic might actually like the fact that he doesn't have to be the leader in this race. He can take a position where he can try and roll over and be in 3rd or 4th position. I think Tiptronic, he almost could get a little bit lost here in this market where he's sitting at $10 and you feel like he could get to nearly $12. And that's quite ridiculous, really, isn't it? Because he's a horse that's got outstanding Ellerslie form. He's won the Zabeel Classic. He's a 2-time Group 1 winner, is Tiptronic. If he starts getting into that zone, well, Look, I'm definitely going to have an each-way bet on him because he just shouldn't be getting to that sort of price with his stats around here at Ellerslie, Tiptronic on a good surface, which is what he needs and what you'd imagine he'll get.
He doesn't like a dark cloud, does he? And that's what he struck at Te Rapa last start. He was in the IG, the inferior part of the ground at Te Rapa when they were coming down the middle part of the track. He likes to find that rail, one off the rail, as a guide heading to the home straight or the winning post. So look, normally there's a bit of speaking for Tiptronic.
Yeah,
in that middle market.
Voting, yeah.
Thus far, we can't write a ticket on him. So maybe BP's right. Maybe he sits between that 10 and 15 come race day.
Yeah, okay. And we dive in. Is he the defending champ? Tiptronic? Was that right? Oh, gee, sorry.
Gee, who won this race last year, BP? Gee, I can't remember last week. Melody Bell, wasn't it?
Yes, Melody Bell. Yeah,
that's well done. Yeah, you saved us there. I dropped you in the deep end, and you've come through in the clutch. Okay, Pops. How would you attack this from a betting perspective if Tiptronic keeps drifting? We have a little each-way ticket there. What other bets would you be eyeing up in this year's Bone Crusher?
You're going to mix up with the Zabel Classic, which was on Boxing Day, Thad, aren't you?
Yeah,
literally was only a few months ago, wasn't it? 12 months ago, far out.
Yeah.
Time doesn't go that fast. I know we're all getting older.
It does when you get to this age.
Yeah, I'm getting close to a big number in a few weeks' time. You don't start putting things like that on us. What I'm going to go for the chosen one. I just feel as though he's a chance here in this race with how things might pan out for him. Yes, he is going to get back and running, but I just like him on a good surface with good solid tempo. And if there's that strong tempo for him, he is, as we know, on both sides of the Tasman, he is a class act. And I'll have a little saver on Tiptronic if he starts pushing out to that nice price. Top 3, top 4 also could be a little investment.
Yeah, okay, like it. And look, I've got no knock on the chosen one. Paul, where did you settle in the Bone Crusher?
I'll go with Coventina Bay, right at the top of the market there. Just as BP said, there'll be some good tempo in the race, and I think that'll suit her down to a T. And I can see her finishing off down that Ellerslie Straight on Sunday.
Yeah, $2.50 currently Coventina Bay. Do you think Coventina Bay'll start favourite?
Oh, I think she will.
Yeah, because I just feel like Pops might be on something with the chosen.
Yeah,
excuses for the
I
chosen.
think she will, but there won't be too much between them.
Okay.
I think 250 is almost her bottom price. We've seen a volume of money just in the last 24 hours, but there's an even spread. There's an even spread currently. As I mentioned, the chosen one well played in the first 24 hours, and Matalini has been very solid in that third line. So, there might be only around about a point and a half between the top three. Yeah,
okay. It's going to be an intriguing little betting battle this year's Bone Crusher Stakes. Steve, we want to get to race number 9, and it is Auckland Cup day, and this is the Barfoot and Thompson Auckland Cup Group 2. And headed up by a quality mare as our favourite.
Yeah, Concert Hall, $3.50 when betting commenced on Wednesday there. Now trading $3.80, but not friendless, but just out a few turns to 3.8. Sound, well played, $4.50 into $4. Matches dollar for dollar around Concert Hall, but what we like to call smart money invested early doors around Sound to get its price in, $4.50 into $4. Lincoln King, $7.50 in that third line. Then rest double figures, Starry Bill, well played, 13 to 10. Hurricane, also a switcheroo with Starry Bill, 10 out to 13. You Are a Star, always well played. 14, got a size 15 back into $13. Be interesting to see where that price ends up on race day. But again, horse that's well identified during the working week. Swords Drawn, $14. House of Cartier, 13 out to 15. She has that same price of another CD Raider, Mohaka. Hit the Road Jacket, 21. Tiako Caliburn, 31. Bounce between 31 41. Hino Apelio, possible leader here at 31s. And Roger That, best of the rest at 41. Look, no strong lead. Probably the one slight lead I can give sits around number 8 in Starry Bill. Yeah, okay. Has been a good push, Starry Bill. $10 currently trading. BP, no surprise, it's an excellent betting race. The set weights and penalties 2 mile Auckland Cup, as they tend to be. But firstly of all, have we got the right favourite here in Concert Hall ahead of Sound, do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think with her overall Group 1 form, her top run in the Avondale Cup, and now with her coming back to set weights and penalties. Look, you look at these 3 favoured runners, and you've got Concert Hall Group 1 winner, a race that they've always had their eye on, over 3,200 metres for her. Then you've got Sound. He's been placed in the Auckland Cup at his last 2 years, running third last year and second back in 2020, and his outstanding staying form in Australia. Of course, he's won the last 2 Sandown Classics as Sound. So he's got rock solid, good form, and brings that Australian reference. And then you've got Lincoln King, who has good distance form, in the Cups races here in New Zealand. So how do you line up a Wellington Cup and New Zealand Cup sort of form lines up against those horses that have got Australian form, Group 1 form? So that's what you've got to try and work out here with Lincoln King, because I think Lincoln King, he'll stay all day. He's got great 3,200 metre form with him being placed in the 2020 New Zealand Cup, winning the Wellington Cup, and was very good in the Nathans too on the weekend just gone when finishing into second position. So it's down to how you run with local 3,200 metre form with the Wellington Cup, which we know has always been just that step off them with how that race has gone over the last couple of years. But I still think you need to use the form, because it's 2 mile form with both Lincoln King and Starry Beale. The one horse here that's a mystery horse for me is Hurricane, runner number 5. Now, 3 starts ago, this horse ran one of the best Auckland Cup trials you will ever see. But it was back in 2021, of course, when running 5th in the Avondale Cup. After watching that race, I'm sure a lot of people just went, that horse there is winning the Auckland Cup. Now, unfortunately, he didn't get a chance to run in the Auckland Cup in that year. He's had just 2 runs back over 2,000 metres and 2,200 metres, and he is trained by a master in Raymond Connors. He is a very good horseman. This would be one heck of a training effort if this horse could be somewhere near them, close when the whips are cracking in the Auckland Cup. I find him a mystery, and I almost want to be a part of him just in case this mystery is unravelled around Hurricane on Saturday.
That run in the Nathans, BP, I was hoping he hadn't seen it, to be honest. I think it says 8th in the book, but if you do get a chance to go back and watch the replay, sneaky. I'm calling it sneaky, BP.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it wasn't quite the flashing red light that was in the Avondale Cup from last season, but it was. Yeah, it was a classic race where it was just I'm in the right spot. I'm coming home nicely. Little dummy Myers sort of angle to it, wasn't it? From Raymond so. There. So yeah, I would be wary.
Yeah, 100%. And $13 Hurricane. He's always looked like he's been a talented star in the making, Steve.
Yeah, it's an intriguing runner. Look, they didn't go hard in his last run, Hurricane and the Nathans, below 11.7 lengths for the first 1,800. So adding merit to his run, he's run home the fastest 6.42 closing splits, Hurricane. Naturally, you'd think, is he 1 or 2 runs behind the 8 ball? But just out of that stable, you've got to be wary, as BP mentioned. So, look, he's a 9-year-old, but you can't really knock that. El Soldado won this race back in 2016 as a 9-year-old, and you got Sound, who's one of the faves, as a 9-year-old as well. So maybe age is not a concern when it comes to the Auckland Cup. But $13 off a bottom price of $10, very hard to assess his price, whereas SP is Hurricane, but one of the more intriguing runners, not just in this race, but on the day.
Yeah, 100%. Paul, I look at this betting market and I think of you. I don't know why. Just wide open. Somehow you're going to stumble onto the winner for us, surely.
Yep, the favourite, Concert Hall. I really do like the look of her. In fact, I think her win in the City of Auckland Cup, but just like BP said, she said, I'm going to win the Auckland Cup off of this run. It was another huge run in the Avondale Cup where she had to lop round 59 kilos, drops down to 56 for the Auckland Cup here. She'll probably have a little Bo Peep behind her just to make sure that Ryan Elliott is still in the saddle. This is just an absolute dream for Concert Hall, I think, and I'm very, very keen on her chances. I did have a look a wee bit further down the page, and I thought the lightweight, You Are a Star, might be able to run a wee bit of a race there. Wasn't that far away in the Wellington Cup, and is better weighted against the likes of Lincoln King and Starry Beale coming into this Auckland Cup. So I do like the chances of Concert Hall, but maybe You Are a Star to lop in there somewhere as well.
Yeah, okay. Concert Hall. I think Sound might have closed Future's favourite. They're very close together in this market now, Steve, but Sound doesn't get warmed up until he gets to 2,400 metres. So I'd not put a line through his last 2,000 metre runs, but he's probably always had an eye on this race.
Yeah, I think this is the reason why he's come over here. Obviously, it's not a Group 1 status now, the Auckland Cup, but he's still an entire, so every black type is important in terms of possibly being a sire post this race. I think this is his swan song. This may be his last run, according from the stable. But yeah, as you mentioned, this has been his grand final ever coming across here around about Christmas, New Year time sound. I probably wanted to see a little bit more out of his 2,000 metre runs in the Herbie Dyke and also first up. Just looked a little bit flat when it came to the business end. He was beaten around about 7 lengths last start at Te Rapa on an off track. I couldn't split Concert Hall and Sound in terms of the marketplace. We went with Concert Hall, but the marketplace is gravitated towards them being neck and neck. Concert Hall $3.80 v Sound $4. Normally I don't like Xavier Beals over 2 miles, but again you've got to put it into context and who you're up against. But Concert Hall probably still has that slight query over 2 miles, but it's hard to assess her Avondale Cup. I know she was carrying 59 kegs that day, and she had to make a run from the 600 metre mark under that big weight, but she was still beaten by a rating 70 galloper in Hanapara. And that's no knock on Hanapara, got a deserved win, but she was a rating 72 galloper v Concert Hall, which we know is a genuine weight for age Group 1 contender. So just hard to assess. You look at the overall figures, where Concert Hall rated in her last start Avondale Cup second, v her City of Auckland Cup win. The City of Auckland Cup win rated 2 lengths superior v her last start. So maybe she was just on the slight fresh side. Roger and Robert were just holding a few things back with the 59 on her back to prime her for this 2 mile event. So, but just a slight query over the 2 miles around Concert Hall. But again, you've got to take it on face value and who she's up against.
Yeah, okay. Pops, a couple of more I just want you to touch on. Good runs out of the Nathans. Obviously, Swords Drawn was the winner, and good to see him back to the form we know he's capable of. And the other one, Hit the Road Jack. Plenty of money in the futures early on, and they wouldn't have minded what they saw last start.
No, look, both of those horses are worthy mentions, aren't they? Swords Drawn, he has been a very hard horse to catch, hasn't he, at times? There's been a number of races he's been in where you just thought he'd be winning and hasn't got it done, but did it nicely in the Nathans, and I'm sure many will use that as their springboard if you've used the Nathans, and going back to when the race used to be on Boxing Day and then the Auckland Cup on New Year's Day. Yeah, Hit the Road Jack is a horse that 3,200 metres, and I know that the team have always thought that's no issue for him. He's already had a crack at the distance, and Alan Nicholas, who's just come back as well from injury, will take a ride aboard that runner. If there was one horse further down the page, I would entertain having something on. It is House of Cartier, number 15. Now, of course, she is out of a former Auckland Cup winner, and she's Sensational, who won the race back in 2012. Now, she's a horse who's won, a stakes race over 1,600 metres on wet ground. We've seen her excel, obviously, when the ground is a touch wetter than what it's going to be on the weekend. The unknown is about her staying, but her pedigree would say that, on the dam side through She's Sensational, that she is going to stay, and she's raced up to about 2,400 metres in Australia, has this horse when she campaigned a couple of seasons there. So she might be the one that you can entertain sort of lobbing through trifectas and first fours with how she's run through our Cups races. This preparation leading up towards the Auckland Cup. Her last run, yes, was over a mile. It was in the Group 1 Otaki weight for age. It was a great chance to be able to use that as almost a glorified trial in a Group 1 race, and she ran on into 5th position. So, yeah, unknown about her seeing the trip out, but maybe for the aspects of her going through the dam side, that maybe she can run a cheeky place at around sort of $3 or $4.
Yeah, don't mind it. We'll stay with you, BP. What bets would you have? You obviously mentioned House of Cartier. How would you attack this year's Auckland Cup?
Look, I do like Lincoln King. I just feel as though
underrated.
Yeah, he is, and if he can use if he can do what he did in the Wellington Cup, he was strong through that race. Yes, this is a stronger field than the Wellington Cup, but as I said beforehand, we know that he can genuinely get the 3,200 metres, and he's got Craig Grills aboard. He knows the horse well, so I'm with him, but I'm also going to have each way bets on Hurricane, and maybe a little place bet on House of Cartier. Maybe House of Cartier might just end up in my trifecta of first four. So just to cut it down to 2 bets, we'll go Lincoln King and Hurricane.
Billy Gleeson's going to have a big day. BP's on the mark. House of Cartier, Lincoln King.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he puts enough money into the industry, he deserves his return. Yeah,
100%. Paul, come to you. You were pretty keen on the favourite here, Concert Hall.
Yeah, Concert Hall to win for mine at $3.80 now, and You Are a Star for a top 3 finish at $4. I'm just interested, did BP Junior have any futures sort of runners that he liked in the Auckland Cup, I'd like to slot them into my multiples.
I reckon we get him on the show next week.
Yeah.
Look, I can confirm, Paul, that no, he hasn't. Once I do see, or he wants to tap me on the shoulder for a little dollar investment on a futures market, I will make sure everyone's aware of it.
Thank you. We need all the winners we can get. Paul, there's no more bonus back blitz this weekend. They've had enough of those, surely, bonus back blitzes.
No, we'll have another one this Saturday. Bonus back blitz, a bonus back promotion on the first 4 races from Trentham, Pukekohe, Rosehill and Flemington. And then, of course, Sunday, the big Auckland Cup meeting.
Yeah.
We're having a bonus back promotion on the whole card.
No, you're not. Every race.
Every race, isn't it?
Oh, boy, oh, boy. Okay, guys, best bets time. We're running out of time, as always, here on the Leg Up. We do love a chat. We'll come to you, BP, first. What horse do you have this week for your bet of the week?
All right, we'll go Warriors top 8. Seems and maybe a win against the Dragons too. That'll be a nice way to kick off the season. They play on Saturday, 7:30. I'm going to go to Counties. Of course, we've got a race meeting on Saturday and 2 good meetings to look out for. I really like this horse. This is a horse called Eyes Only on Me. She runs into second position here. She drew the car park. And has still finished into second position. It was a race that we were keen to identify as a maiden of the week with this horse finishing into second position. It was basically centred around this horse really because she ran second and so well in it. Her first up run, she got no favours as well. She got back at Tauranga, rattled home, and it's been a race where there's been horses that have run in stakes races. Labella Beals did beat her in that race, then came out and run third in a Bone Crusher, and behind Dark Destroyer, an Outfit who was able to run third in that race has come out and been second in an Oaks Prelude behind Miss Ella. So she's in and around good form. She's got the right draw. She was in 2 races, but they've gone for this one over 1,400 metres with Lee Thinnis aboard, and $2 is the price.
Okay.
It's a couple of scratchings, BP. So it's second ballot.
Yes, but isn't there some double noms in there?
Yeah, there's plenty of double, triple nominations or acceptances for counties on Saturday, which can make it a bit frustrating. But
yes,
for a different...
another conversation for another day.
Exactly.
Exactly. Paulie, you're the hot hand, mate. I'm going with you. What do you got?
I'm going to go to Ellerslie on Sunday, race 5, the Royal Descent Stakes, and the favourite Show of Roses. The last time Opie Bosson rode her in a weight for age fillies and mares race, they saluted the judge. He's back on again.
Yep.
I really, really do like her chances. 2:30, I think she is right now.
Yep, 2:30 as we speak, so you can step into Paul's best bet. He is the man of the hour after Johnny last week. Stephen, to you. Where did you settle on for your bet of the week?
Yeah, I'll stick at Ellerslie, race 3, the rating 65-2-1. Castle Bay was been with this horse last start. What you don't see there, it drew the car park, elected to go back. So it's gone back its last 2 starts. In both those 2 starts, the race shape has been totally against Castle Bay. They've walked and sprinted home. He recorded the second fastest closing splits in behind Pinarello a few weeks back at Ellerslie. You see there just grabbing second very, very late. He's drawn barrier 1. Andrew Calder. Look, I'm not saying he'll be in the first 2 or 3 in running, but I think he can be at least a few pairs closer, maybe in that neutral position from the ace draw, and I think he's the one to beat come race 3, Castle Bay.
Okay, very good. Castle Bay for Steve. What price? Do we know?
Around about that $4 mark.
Okay, like that. Almost a little bit of each way. Very good, team. We better wrap it up. We've got a minute. Pops, thank you for your efforts as always. Are you out of jail? What's happening in your situation?
Yes, no, out of jail. So, we'll be at Ellerslie on Sunday. So, can't wait for it.
No, absolutely. Will be a cracking day, and we're going to get through Saturday yet as well. So, looking forward to that. Thank you, BP, as always. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for your efforts as always, mate. Thanks for tuning in. You even coming on your day off, don't you?
Yeah, don't worry about it. Anyway, we've also got that Warriors Top 8 bonus back promotion. Head to the TAB website or the app, check out all the T's and C's there. But I know it's one that BP is very, very keen on. We're almost giving money away this time.
Warriors Top 8, Pops.
Yeah, well, no need to pay out any bonus bets there because I think punters will just be getting paid out on that top 8 there for the Warriors. Josh Curran for a try on Saturday. A little short ball from Sean Johnson to score against the Dragons.
Oh, we should get you have a league podcast, don't you? You need pops on there, that's for sure. Okay, boys, thanks for your efforts as always, and thanks for your tips and your time. Thanks, Stephen, for yours.
All the best, Levante at Flemington, taking on the big
we've
boys
got a
and
huge
girls.
day in Aussie as well, which we haven't had a chance to talk about, but there's enough happening here and there. It's going to be a big weekend. Yeah,
Sure.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Thanks, BP. Thanks, Paul, and thank you for joining us once again on the Leg Up. We'll see you in 7 days' time.